Attention podcast listeners, have you or your wallet ever felt personally victimized by HomeFoodApparel.com? Have you found yourself longing for high quality NASCAR hats, shirts, and hoodies? Have you or a loved one ever been caught staring at Home Field's Hendrick Motorsports collection? Luckily for you, the law office of Victory Lane Vibes are here to help. We know that Home Field's apparel's quality is unmatched, each piece crafted with premium materials, ensuring maximum comfort and durability, and you know the designs have not been illegally infringed upon. Don't delay. Visit homefieldapparel.com today to explore their Hendrick Motorsports collection. And for a limited time, listeners can enjoy a special offer. Enter promo code VLV24 at checkout to receive an exclusive discount of 15% off your first order. That's homefieldapparel.com, promo code VLV24 for 15% off your order. Remember, when it comes to showcasing your motorsports pride, choose Home Field Apparel, the apparel you can trust. This message has been brought to you by Home Field Apparel. Home Field cannot guarantee that their merch will make you become a race car driver, only feel like one. Side effects can only include desire to go fast, urge to grow a mustache, longing for the smell of burnt rubber gasoline, and sudden increase in Victory Lane vibes.
They opened up a little small track in Danville called the Dixie Speedway, and they wanted to get some black drivers, and they thought they didn't know who to approach, so they went to the police department to find out what black guys had speeding records, things like that. So they told them they want somebody to drive a race car to see me. So that's how I started racing.
As Matt told us earlier, trying to become the first African-American driver since Willie T. Ribbs and join Randy Bethea and the great Wendell Scott.
He did he drove the car exactly what the car wanted him to do. He got out early. It looked like a little tight, but he kept in the throttle and he got a good lap. And wow, way to go, Bill.
There you go.
Woo-hoo. That's it.
That man, Tony Schumacher, wins. He is the champion for an 8th time. But Antron Brown, if Tony Schumacher loses, becomes the first African-American to win an NHRA title. 376, Antron Brown is the top fuel champion.
These need to be the best 7 laps of Darrell Wallace Jr.'s life.
That was a good first part of it right there.
Turn number 4, Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to get his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. His final time through 3 and 4. He's going to do it. Bubba Wallace wins at Kansas.
Ready. What they gonna say now, baby? Let's go!
Record is equals. Lewis Hamilton wins the Turkish Grand Prix and is a 7-time champion of the world.
Get in there, Lewis. What a way to do it, mate. What a way to win your 7th world title.
Welcome to another episode of Victory Lane Vibes. We are your hostesses with the mostesses. It's Jared and Kiana, and the rest of the show took off for spring break.
We fired them all.
AB, the pink slip is in the mail. Well, I'm feeling right now. But we went down the depth chart. We got a special guest with us. I invited my friend Brandon to the show. Local talent. Used to drive around in some arena cars. Say hi to the people, Brandon.
Hello, hello, hello.
So we're gonna get this show cracking. It's the spring break edition of Victory Lane Vibes. I don't have any milk to spill, so I guess we can just hop right to it. Our one and only Kiana spent the entire weekend at Martinsville Speedway. Brave the Cold was on TV with the blankets and the 540 crew, and then saw some pretty good racing. So we'll start with Friday night with the trucks. Christian Eckes said, "You thought," swept all the stages, won the race in not so dramatic fashion. He laid a butt whooping down. How did it look at the track?
Man, I will say this. Out of all 3 races, I kind of feel like I enjoyed the truck race the most, which is usually not the case. I feel like I usually enjoy Xfinity better. I was at Martinsville for the fall race for Xfinity when all hell broke loose. But again, that was, it was great racing, very competitive, and I just felt like Xfinity this, for this weekend, it wasn't as eventful. But of course, in the context of what was happening back then, it makes sense why that was so crazy. But yeah, the trucks were actually pretty interesting. And again, I think, kind of what I said last week, there's, a lot of new talent in trucks. And I think that also changes the competition level a little bit. So it's not same old, same old. So that's nice to see. Raj did pretty good. And that was really what I was there to see. I mean, I wanted to see him cook. I don't feel like he got enough of an opportunity to do that, but I still think he did great for, being relatively new to being full time. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Christian, gosh, he was he was flying. I like I said, I really enjoyed what I did see in the level of competition. I think it was great. But it was very clear that it was not, each stage it didn't really change much, and you could tell that Christian was just going to run away with it. Like, as soon as he got out in front, he's gone. So yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was a good race. I wish that well, first of all, I wish Cam Waters didn't get caught up in all that mess. That was really disappointing. I felt bad for him. Yeah, he got caught in some real foolishness. Dean Thompson too, that's my boy. Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. But overall, I mean, it was a good race to watch in person. Raj got top 10, so I was happy. But yeah, Christian was cooking. Couldn't catch him.
Yeah, especially on the restarts. They talked about Denny jumping, but I was like,
he was gone.
And see,
I was sitting right in front of the restart zone. I was watching very carefully. It did not look bad to me. I know they reviewed a few of them, not just in trucks, but really all of them this weekend. Right. They were reviewing. It seemed like they reviewed almost every one, but no, he was just gone. They couldn't catch him.
Restart merchant. You start up front. You win
Absolutely.
The race. Brandon, what'd you think of the truck race?
I think the only way anybody was beating Christian Eckes is if they put him into the turn one wall.
Pretty much.
I think Corey Heim had a really good truck. He was probably a solid number 2 if that race stayed green. But yeah, Christian Eckes just ran away with it. Nobody could touch him.
Heim time.
I love me some Corey Heim.
Yeah, I feel like he's pretty popular on the pod. It's always Heim time over here. So
he's just like a good dude. You just want to just see him just get his and get going and get moving through the Toyota pipeline. But
he's got another race this weekend in the Xfinity for Mr. Sam Hunt Racing.
Mm-hmm. I think honestly, I just feel like the Tricon team is just really cool. And
they really took over that spot for Kyle Busch Motorsports. They grabbed it by the horns and just rolled with it.
Yeah, I really like them. And, after being down there and just like kind of hanging out on pit road, like I can tell they're just, they're just really friendly. They're really cool with each other. Everybody seems to be in good spirits. Like it's nice to see teams who operate that way. So I appreciate them and I have no problem cheering for them because they're pretty cool.
Yeah, so with Rogers' finish leaves him 7th.
Yep.
In the truck points. I guess he's looking at playoffs. He's 5th, but not bad.
No.
I think their next race, they're at Tejas 2 this weekend.
Everybody's at Tejas.
Everybody at Tejas. Oh Lord, we got to do this again. So 1.5 exercises. So moving on, that was Friday night. Saturday night in the more frigid cold.
Oh my God.
The Xfinity race happened, and I don't know if I can say this, so I'm not going to. But the Jesus car won. Eric Almirola scores an Xfinity win for Mr. Joe Gibbs, and his teammate Sheldon Creed let me down. again.
Oh man.
I don't if I think it's at this point, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm pulling too hard for him to win. Because I don't know what he was trying.
He
He
was
did the move
cooking
too
though.
soon. He
He
did the
was
move too
cooking.
soon. He was flying.
He
And then the
was.
last restart, he lost his head a little bit and went from second to sixth.
I was so sad. That
and
really
then
hurt. That hurt.
and then Chandler Smith literally started last and drove all the way up the front to finish third. So the Xfinity
That
race.
is he's your championship guy right there, Chandler Smith. If he doesn't win it, something's wrong with Xfinity Series.
I mean, he's really been zoom, and that was probably the best example of it, because I was so bummed that he was in the back, and I was just like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy. But for him to go from starting in 37th, like, I need people to understand, 37th place and got up to third place. I can't even be mad at that. That's amazing.
So the crazier part, and then I'll let you tee off, Kiana. In the broadcast, apparently he wrecked in. Did he wreck in practice or he wrecked in qualifying?
Practice.
It was
wrecked in practice. So
Yeah,
they
it
took
was
the car,
first time going into turn one.
Yep.
and he went kablooey. They took the car back to the shop, which I didn't even think you could do. They loaded it back up, took it back to Charlotte, fixed it, brought it back to the racetrack, and went from last to third. That's just phenomenal work, I'd say, by the engineers and everybody back at the shop, because that's a finish where you really can't, hang your head on. You went from last to third with a broke car. So I just wanted to make sure we added that tidbit. But yeah, Kiana, how was your experience at the Xfinity race and the mayhem and carnage?
Oh my god, man! And I love the spot that we had, because we were it was me, Shane, TJ, and TJ's mom, and we were all in the like right by turn 4, pretty much in front of the restart zone, but up high. And that was where we sat for trucks too, and you can really see like the whole track from there. It's awesome. So yeah, it was I was looking at the restarts. That was the main thing I was watching, but yeah, it was chaos. I'm really bummed that Ogata didn't get many laps in, because I was rooting for him. I just like that he shows up and wants to race. I think that's awesome. And he always seems so stoked about it. But his brakes, I saw his brakes glowing. Like, he had the brightest brakes on the track, and I posted a video. I was like, we have a problem. And as soon as I said that, he ended up pitting, and he never came back out. And I was like, dang it. I was so bummed for him. But yeah, I'm glad that he at least got to, show up and race, but I was really bummed about that. SVG did great. He was almost caught up in some really messy stuff, and I was holding my breath because they were really playing bumper cars out there at one point, and I was just like, man, if I got to see this man wreck, I'm leaving. And I said that to myself too. I was like, if somebody wrecks SVG, I'm getting up and leaving, because it is too cold for me to be sitting out here for this. But I wanted to see Creed win, and he was so close, and poor Shane, he wanted Creed to win so bad. We were just like sitting there in the cold, like we're all shivering. We're like, Creed, please cook. And it did not come together. And it was such a bummer. But he tried. I can't say he didn't try, because he did, but it didn't work. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a pretty good race. Like I said, not, I don't think anything will ever beat the fall race from last year, because that was just absolute chaos and mayhem, and I loved it. But I still think this was, still a pretty good race. I enjoyed it more than the Cup race, I know that. But yet again, and I mean, I feel like I say this every week, and I hate sounding like a broken record about that, but Xfinity and trucks have been entertaining me more than the Cup race. That's just the truth. We can talk about that later, but yeah, I mean, it's just I still had a pretty good time, and yeah, I think it was, it's a bummer coming home and watching the recordings versus what I saw at the track, because then I see why I had so many people like DMing me during mostly Xfinity and Cup asking like what was going on with their drivers, because they had no idea. And that really makes me sad, because there were actually some pretty good position battles happening, and I feel like the broadcast just does not focus on any of those. But again, topic for another week. We could probably do a whole episode on that, but
we could probably literally do a whole episode.
Literally.
When the Olympics comes, that's going to be our special episode for the Olympic break.
Yeah.
We're going to recap Fox.
Oh my God. But yeah, it just, it's a bummer that the people at home can't really experience what we're experiencing on the track. And that's what I want the focus to be on. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good race. There was a lot going on, but I thought it was a pretty good race.
And I feel like there was some more ticket price discourse on Twitter this weekend too.
Yeah. A little.
And it just makes sense, to your point, Kiana. You can enjoy the race more at the track because you don't have to worry about the cameraman picking his nose or paying attention to something that's not even supposed to be like on the TV. In the present, I definitely noticed that when we were at Richmond. And a similar thing to Martinsville, just seeing how like people were at the race and the things that they were tweeting and talking about, it didn't really correlate to the broadcast, which kind of made you wonder, what's the production truck doing? What y'all looking at?
Yeah, and I mean, for what I got, like I did the 3-day package, and it was cheaper to do that than to buy like one cup ticket. And so I pretty much paid the same price for the cup seat that I was looking at originally, because originally I was just going to do that, and I was like, I might as well just do all three. It's an hour drive, whatever. I'll just do it.
Right.
And it was cool because, trucks and Xfinity are general admission, so you can sit where you want. And yeah, I mean, it ended up working out better that way. But yeah, like it's, the whole Richmond conversation and the Bristol conversation, ticket prices, and, there's a lot of things that just need to be adjusted, because even with the temperatures out there was still a pretty good crowd for trucks and Xfinity. More than what I've seen for trucks and Xfinity at other tracks. So I think that says a lot about Martinsville and that experience, and just, how much people love that track, that they'll sit in 45-degree weather. Friday night, it was nearly flurrying, and people were still out there, wrapped up in blankets watching the whole race. So yeah, like there are conversations to be had around all that, but yeah, I think it's unfortunate that the people watching the broadcast are not getting the same experience that we're getting at the track.
Friday night short track races hit different.
It really does. it's so, I wish the weather had been a little warmer, because it would have been perfect, but for what it was, I mean, we still got a pretty good race out of it, so I don't mind it.
Brandon, what'd you think of the Xfinity race?
Xfinity race on, I mean, I obviously watched the broadcast of it, so it was, I've got issues with Fox, and Jerry, you know my opinion on that, so maybe I'll have to jump back in when you guys have that recording. But I thought it was a really good race. Chandler Smith is, like I said earlier, the end all be all this year. If he doesn't win the title, something's wrong. Bacon Boy got himself a dub. I'm happy for Eric Amarola.
You're happy for him?
I am happy for him. I love me Bacon. He had so much adversity at Stewart Haas. I feel like he was always the forgotten stepchild for bringing all that Smithfield money, and he always kind of got left out.
It's true though. He did have the money on that team. Yeah, he did have the money on that team.
That's a shame.
So him coming to Joe Gibbs and getting a good ride for 10 races or whatever he's doing, driving the tracks he wants to drive. He's running really well. I'm happy for him. One thing I'm not a big fan of is freaking Sam Mayer. Crybaby Sam Mayer.
Tell us more.
Oh my.
Crybaby Sam Mayer. God forbid anybody from Joe Gibbs Racing touch his race car. He cries about it every single time, and it kills me. That's all I'm going to say on him, because that's all I think he deserves.
Dang.
Yeah. Great weekend for Josh Williams. Some redemption for all the Twitter haters for him.
Shout out to Josh. Love him.
He had a great weekend. Good top 10 for him.
He was.
I think he's just going to keep getting better and better throughout the year. He's been in Xfinity Series a long time. He's got a lot of experience, and I think AJ's kind of helping him adjust to a competitive car from where he was in a non-competitive car. Not saying non-competitive, that sounds bad, but not as competitive as he's in now with Colleague. So I think he's in a really good spot, and I think he's got more success coming his way.
Oh yeah,
and congrats to him as well. He just had a baby, so
yeah.
good for him.
Congrats to them. He's such a cool guy. I'm mad I still haven't met him. He walked right past me in Atlanta, and I didn't get to talk to him, and I was so bummed because then, like, literally 5 seconds later, SVG came walking. I was like, oh, I gotta choose. It's like if I go for one, I'm gonna miss the other. I gotta go for SVG. I'll catch Josh another time. He did wave at us during driver intros for the Cup race, so I still got my moment. But yeah,
Best mullet in the garage. I love it.
yeah. It's like I gotta choose, and this is gonna be a hard choice. I gotta go for SVG. But yeah, Josh, he did great. I was really proud of him. That was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's just like just the whole season, he just get caught up in foolishness that had nothing to do with him and isn't his fault. And I remember, us begging the sponsors, like even on the Cup side, like you got to put him back in the Cup car too, bro. Like let him drive because he's hasn't gotten a fair shake yet. But good on him for getting his top 10. To y'all's point, hopefully that's the catalyst for something more. Hopefully he has some speed this weekend to steal it from the Toyotas, because I have a sneaking suspicion they're gonna be fast at these non-halves.
I don't know if you guys follow Josh's wife on Twitter, but she is hilarious. She takes all the Twitter haters and puts them to rest. So she's a great follow.
She needs to. You can tell they team up because they both be dragging folks, and I love it. So. Big Kiana energy there. I appreciate it.
Which brings us to the slot car 400 that was Sunday.
Damn.
My 2 cents before I speak. Chase Elliott, my brother in Christ. You haven't won since 2022.
That was his. No. All right. Nope. See, now I gotta say this.
Christ.
That was his race. Okay.
He had it.
He had it. And I was like, if Bubba can't get this, I need Chase to win this, because I just felt bad at that point. Like,
if it was going to be a Hendrick car, I needed Chase to win that damn race.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And he was right there. And I'm just like, oh my God, just please somebody.
Hit him.
Because
Move
he
him.
was flying. He was flying. Okay.
Please hit him.
That was so frustrating.
But no, Chase played good teammate. William Byron wins his 3rd race of this young Cup season. And Rick Hendricks gets his ruby red Chevrolets 1, 2, 3 at the clip. Kiana, your thoughts on the Cup race?
Ooh, child, where do we start? First of all, shout out to my boy Bubba, because you was flying, boy.
You had a really good race.
It's beautiful to watch. Like I said on Twitter, take everybody off the track, just let him and Kyle run it out. I would have loved that, because we were getting a show, and then it just went nowhere. But yeah, he and Kyle were putting on a show for that first little section, and that was great. But yeah, Chase, when he got out in front, I mean, he was gone. Okay. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be it. Like, I'm gonna be in Martinsville and Chase is gonna win. Like, this is gonna be crazy. And I'm sitting there in a Bubba Wallace shirt. Obviously not, but I was rooting for Chase because I could see it, and I was like, okay, maybe this is the day. And it just didn't happen. And I'm like, what? And there was a guy near me who was a Chase fan, and he even like turned around to me. He's like, what in the world? I was like, man, because he saw me cheering for him when he got out in front, and I was just like, yeah, like I want him to get a win. Like, this is crazy that he's still, he's in this drought, and I just feel bad for him. And to be that close and to just watch it slip away again to your teammate, like that hurts. I know you're still happy for him, but it just, to be that close, it sucks. So yeah, that was a bummer. Because I really wanted him to get that win. Because the crowd just, God, every time they mentioned his name, it just went deafening roar in the stands, and of course they were still happy with Byron winning, but it was just, I kind of felt bad for his fans who were there to see him get that close and still not get it. Like, I know how that feels. So it's rough to watch, but yeah, with all the discourse that's happening around these tracks, and we're actually having a good conversation in Denny's comments on Instagram right now, because I was just kind of like, as fun as this weekend was, it was just really disappointing to get to the cup race and it went down the way it did. And, it's kind of at that point where they need to have a come to Jesus moment and be like, look, how do we fix this before we come back here? Because they can't have that race again in the fall. Like, it's just, you can't do that. And you're going to market this as the race to attend, no, like, you've got to have something that's going to bring people to the track, but also bring people to their TVs to watch. And I worry that after what people watched on Sunday, they're going to be like, well, I don't know if I really want to deal with that again. And I don't blame them. And it's unfortunate because, it's Martinsville. This is not just, any old track. This is Martinsville. And, if we have Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin both raising alarms with like, okay, something needs to be done, then something needs to be done. Because it really worries me that with all these new viewers that we're getting, the viewer numbers were still great, even with, competing with the basketball championships and all that. They still pretty much came out even. And that was, from last year. And I did not expect that at all. I thought it was going to dip. And so if the viewership is that strong, they have got to have a racing product on the track that's going to match that level of interest. And right now it's not there. And I worry that if that continues, once we get to the Olympic break, we may lose some people for good. And they're going to be like, well, I'm not going back. And that's worrying. And so they've really got to figure something out. For the second half of the year before the playoffs, like there's something that's got to happen. And even if they can't fix it, right away this year, they've got to put something in place for next season, because I don't want to see them lose all this momentum that they've gained from Netflix for something that they could have fixed a long time ago. That just doesn't make sense to me. So, yeah, I'm glad that like Denny and Dale Jr. and everyone else are starting to speak out, because I feel like that's really the only way the change is going to happen, because the fans have been asking for it and they're not being heard. So like something's got to give at some point, because this is just getting ridiculous.
So, my idea last year was hashtag Moist Martinsville.
All right.
Put some water on the track and the damn tires and go run. But now that idea sounds good now, don't it? Yeah, now it sounds good. Y'all was coming from my neck for that season.
Put some baby oil on the track and grease it up. Put some Crisco on the track. I don't know. Something. Make it interesting.
But I'm really excited for this next topic we get into around the short tracks and the discourse around that.
Yeah.
Brandon, your take on the cup race.
The Martinsville Cookout Monaco Grand Prix 400. The parade laps around the track is fantastic.
Yeah, they Verstappen.
I think there really was as much passing as the Monaco Grand Prix. You just can't pass. That's really all there is to say. I think the best car won the race. I think Byron had the best car. It was between him and Kyle Larson. I don't think Chase Elliott had anything for him. Denny Bubba top 5. I think the best car won the race. That's really all I got to say. Nothing really positive, unfortunately, because it wasn't a great race.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because my favorite moment in NASCAR ever is from Martinsville Speedway.
Yes.
Happened in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Fall race, turn
Mm-hmm.
1.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Had a right front going down. My bad. Sorry, Joey. Anywho, it just Martinsville's a great track. It's got a lot of prestige. Great racing in everything else other than these cup cars that you cannot do anything with on a short track, which is how NASCAR got started, and that's NASCAR roots. So you've got to fix that.
Yeah, it's just after just Richmond last weekend and then Martinsville this weekend. It's like I said it last week on the show. I'm hell or high water. Richmond is not giving up a date. damn everybody who says that to hell.
Yeah, look,
Because
I
it's not the track's
man,
fault.
It's gonna
the
happen,
next person who
unfortunately.
says that to me, I'm
That's gonna
telling
happen.
no,
You think so?
they cannot.
I know nobody wants to hear it, but I think it's gonna happen.
They can't do that. You're abandoning most of the viewership of your fan base.
I get it.
No,
I don't want it to happen, but I think it's going to.
they can't take away. And this is I actually
Where
I'm
would you
glad
go?
that Denny said
That's
no.
my rebuttal. Where do you
Because
go?
Denny
Do you go
and
to Iowa?
Denny and Dale both
That's a
mentioned
copycat
that.
Richmond.
No,
Yeah, like you can't like
you can't give up tracks
also-
before
you can't
fixing
give
the
up
product
tracks.
on the track.
Exactly.
That's the
Right.
problem, and people are not understanding that, and that's what's like really making me angry because
Tell that to Kentucky. Tell that to Chicago.
well, that's Kentucky. This is Richmond.
Kentucky.
Here's the thing.
Oh God.
I'm just saying.
The problem is
you've
if-
got the right mindset, but NASCAR doesn't think like that.
well, I'm gonna make them have the right mindset because the issue is if they really want to like start a war, that's where it's gonna start. Because I'm gonna tell you now, those people are serious about their Richmond weekend. Like that, it's a tradition. They are, they are going to riot, and for that to be one of the biggest markets that they have is a huge, huge miss. And so all that would tell me is that number one, they do not care about the fan base. They don't care about their viewership markets because not only is that not going to increase their TV viewership, it's probably going to decrease it because they're going to be angry that they lost the weekend that they've had forever. And, it's such a, it's such a, tone deaf thing to do. But, for Dale Jr. to even see, hey, we need to fix the car before we even talk about the schedule. Like, I'm hoping someone really hears that, because if they don't do that, they're basically just passing the buck and, bringing the issue to other tracks and nothing's going to change. And it's just going to make things worse. And I'm really tired of people like going straight to they're going to remove a date. No, we need to fix the car first. Like, that's just bottom line. It's got to happen. If you don't fix the car, this is just going to keep getting worse, and you're going to end up with no viewers at all. And it's just going to be F1 Junior. So
I'll kind of give you my prediction of what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to take a date from Richmond next year, and I think they are going to go to either Mexico or Canada. They want the international market so bad that they are going to go out of the country, and that date is going to come from Richmond.
Really?
NASCAR will promote it. It'll still be a NASCAR date. It won't be an SMI date. That's the way I think they're going to go. I think they want to be outside of the United States so bad, they will pull it. They will pull a date from somebody, and I think that's going to be Richmond.
Well, just move the Clash.
Those people are going to riot.
Clash, I think. I've got other predictions on Clash. We can talk about that later, but
no, I do think the Clash is going to change. But I would like to see Phoenix. That needs to just, it's not working. Like, that was worse. I had more fun watching Richmond than I did Phoenix, but yeah,
I thought Phoenix was great. Great race, in my opinion.
I bet you did, Christopher Bell.
Yeah, no.
But this is a good time, since we're swallowing our words for the Cup race recap. Let's jump into this the short track discourse. So, like I alluded to in the beginning of the show, Brandon and I talk every day, and we had a really good conversation last night while we were playing NASCAR Heat 5, ironically enough, just in regards to what the thought process would be if we're begging for horsepower and it's not going to come, if we seeming to have the keys to a new manufacturer at SHR's doorstep, if they won't give us more power because of the new manufacturer, how can NASCAR improve the short track racing? So everybody on Twitter has been saying gearing, changing the tire compound, sort of like how F1 has softs and hards and mediums and all of that stuff. But I'm gonna let Brandon lead with this, and then Kiana, I'll have you follow up or rebuttal back. But Brandon has an idea that that'll fix it if BBS is down. Talk about it.
So this wouldn't change just short tracks. This would be across all racing or across all tracks in the Cup Series. When the Cup Series went to this Gen 7 car, they went from a 15-inch by 10-inch wide wheel and tire combination to an 18 by 12. Now, they wanted to make it look more like manufacturers' cars that are on the street. I get that. That's cool and everything. If you can show me somewhere on the street that's got a 12-inch wide tire from the factory, that's not a Viper or a Corvette or something like that, show me. That's not how things happen. Go back to a 10-inch wide tire and wheel combination. You have less mechanical grip. The contact patch is so much smaller going from a 12-inch wide tire to a 10-inch wide tire. I think that is the biggest thing, because at Martinsville you could really see you can hit somebody square in the rear. In the old tire, you hit somebody square in the rear, they're getting loose, they're going up the track. With the new tire, you hit them square in the rear, they're not moving because they've got so much mechanical grip that they don't move. I mean, Denny had a really good thing on his podcast. He's saying he couldn't even get there. And that has a lot to do with aero and the way that they're having to shift and the way they are, getting out of the turns. Gearing has an aspect in that, yes. But I think a better solve for a lot of the racing issues we're seeing is to go back down to a 10-inch wide wheel and tire combination instead of a 12-inch. Leave it at 18-inch, great, still single lug nut, whatever. I think it's just too wide, too much mechanical grip coming from the tires.
Now, I think I can understand, and I think it makes sense. I think it does. So, say for instance, if they don't do it just on the road courses, on the short tracks, and they do it everywhere, I guess my question back to you would be, would that ruin the greatest mile and a half car we've had in the last 14, 15 years? Because this car is amazing on these D-shaped ovals.
I think the car is good on D-shaped ovals, yes. Will it affect it? Yes. Will it kill it? No. I don't think it will spread out the field to a point where you would notice it enough. I think on the mile and a half in particular, you've got such good racing now. You take these tires down to 10-inch wide, you're still going to have good racing. You have less grip. You actually have a better ability for cautions. You have more chance for a caution, which the best way to create good racing is restarts. It's one of the big reasons that NASCAR added the stages in the first place, was they wanted restarts. Restarts create better racing, bunches everybody back up, send them on their way, good to go. I think you really do have the ability to have more cautions with a smaller tire. Could create better racing. Could create maybe too many cautions. I don't know. You'd have to really. I'm sure that NASCAR has done simulations on everything they can think of, or they haven't because they don't care. But I think taking it down to a 10-inch wide tire and wheel combination, I think that's it. I mean, I don't have any access to computer simulations or anything like that, so I may be a complete freaking idiot, and that's fine. But that's my opinion. I think it's too wide. It's too much grip. It doesn't match manufacturer standards that they're putting off the production line. It doesn't. It's not right in my eyes. So that's my opinion on it.
Now, Kiana, with you being the aeronautical aerospace background person, what is your take on something as simple as changing the tire size?
Yeah, actually, and I feel like, who was talking about that? Somebody was talking about that like today. Was it Denny? It might have been Denny. But yeah, I mean, there's something that's got to change, because I mean, like you said, like the tires, there's just something wrong. And I mean, you can tell just from watching these races, like there's something wrong. because there's no reason why somebody should be able to run, a third of the race on the same tires. I just like, I don't know. It's wild to me. But yeah, like I need to see them go back to having strategy. I mean, I just feel like there's no strategy now. And I feel like it's too easy for them to, just sit comfortably and run the race. And that's not what I want. Like, I want them to have to use brain power, figure out how to pass people, figure out how to manage your tires, figure out how to manage your fuel. Like, there's so many things that are happening. And I feel like Sunday, they just didn't even have to worry about anything. As long as nobody, played bumper cars and put them in the wall, they were fine. They were just running. And I could see what Denny was talking about because I could see him and he would get so close to passing somebody and just couldn't get it. He couldn't shut the door. And it was frustrating me because even though, I'm rooting for Bubba, but like I'm watching everyone who's on the lead lap and they're having such a hard time getting past people or just getting the speed. Just it's frustrating to watch. And so yeah, like especially on TV, I know that's worse, but in person, it's frustrating because you're just like, oh my God, like this is Martinsville. Like, this is not the Martinsville that I remember from childhood. Like, that's not what I'm watching right now. And that's disappointing because I didn't get to watch this in person in my childhood. I wanted to, I wasn't allowed to go to the track. And so now that I'm actually able to go and it sucks, like it's so disappointing. So yeah, like there's got to be something that they can do. But I mean, again, if it's enough that it's, ringing the alarm in like Dale Jr.'s head and Denny's head, like there's something wrong because Denny is a master with tire management. And it was still pretty fascinating watching him run, but I could almost tell that he was getting frustrated in the car. And that's very interesting to watch in person. So, yeah, it they've got to figure it out. I mean, I feel like we have reached the point where it's getting too noticeable. And now everyone is just kind of like, hey, we got to fix this. But I definitely agree. Like something's got to change. And I think the tire is a good place to start.
Yeah, it's just
you're too thick.
I really want 900 horsepower, man. Like I just, God, just take the spacer out. Like, do it.
You and I were talking about that the other night. It is never going to happen.
Nope.
God, it's just so frustrating.
It is.
But I mean, to that point though, speaking of Denny and his tire management prowess, that's why Bristol was fantastic. Did Goodyear not like the tire? Sure. Did it make the track dirty with all the debris everywhere? Yes. You can get a jar of that for $50. Shout out to Bristol for selling marbles. If you want some tire shreds from the greatest race yet this year, you can get some $50 in a mason jar.
I think somebody at Goodyear fucked up and sent the wrong tires. That's just me.
But it worked. It was a great.
I'm sorry, but that was hilarious. That was just, it was. I couldn't even like. I mean, yeah, it was great, but it was so chaotic to watch. Like I still feel great. Like my head is spinning from that because I didn't know where to focus.
Like somebody at Goodyear lost their job.
Somebody messed up. It's just
which barcode they sent? They sent this one.
It's kind of like that the meteor TikTok.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
If you're listening and you're the employee at Goodyear that got fired, contact us.
Oh my God.
Please do. I'd like to interview you. If you didn't sign an NDA for what you did.
Yeah, they definitely did.
But it was that's what makes short track NASCAR racing so great. Because you have to manage your tires, you have to manage your brakes, you have to manage your throttle input on entry and exit. And like the drivers can actually show their talent and their skill.
You got to work for it. Yeah.
Like the Fox booth loves to glaze all these dirt trackers about their experience and like, oh, they can drive the car that's really loose and all that stuff. Well, if Brandon gets his wish and you take off 8 collective inches of tire off the car, let's go play. Let's see what you want to do. Let's see if you can drive it then. I feel like a Goodyear tire test. Goodyear, I'm going to tag y'all when we post this episode. listen to this and pay Brandon $100,000 for his focus survey doing a job for you if you actually go with this. But
we need BBS on board with this too. So shout out BBS.
I need BBS. I need some forged wheels for all of my personal vehicles and Power Wheels. Appreciate you. But if NASCAR wants to leave the car as is, and they've made it this way to invite another manufacturer, and so say for instance, if Honda does come and they have this fixed by the time Honda comes, then the 2025 Daytona 500 might be one of the better races we've seen if all of these changes have been implemented. So I think it's a good idea. It's not gonna cost that much because you don't have to change the car. You're just changing the wheel and the tire and saying go play. If I'm not getting Moist Martinsville, this is my second best thing I can get behind. So thank you, Brandon, for bringing that insight to that section of things. Now, before we get to the party, we got to stop in 2311 corner. Shout out to Bubba. Shout out to Tyler Reddick. Tyler Reddick, ladies and gentlemen, didn't lose his head at Martinsville. Hopefully, to Kiana's point, the tire thing is fixed by the time they get back in the fall, so he can ask for redemption there. But P4 for the Hamburglar, the Fry Box, the Fry Rocket, whatever you want to call it. P7 for the Moneyline car. Great pit stops all day.
Beautiful, and I could see them from my seats. I was like,
you can see them.
Oof.
Like the last stop was a titch slow, but I appreciate it being a titch slow, so we didn't have a loose lug nut and have to go in reverse and finish 13th like we did in Richmond. But it was a great race. It was a great points day for Bubba. Glad to see that he's going to have some momentum going on his redemption tour into Texas. And I think, Brandon, you said it moves him up to 13th in the points now with his P2 stage, P4 race win.
Yep, 13th. In between Alex Bowman and Christopher Buescher. 93 points back off William Byron.
Prosper, Texas.
Alex Bowman.
No, honestly, they had a really cute moment.
To show up, man.
They had a cute moment on pit road. I'm really glad I caught that because it was adorable. They were taking their little group pictures and Bubba was right there and they like pulled him in for that picture and it was like, it just warmed my heart for a second. I was like, look at this. But yeah, shout out to the 2311 squad, all, everybody. Because we had a really fun weekend. We brought the squad to McDonald's to beat Bubba on Saturday. And that was really cool. Got our stuff signed, got my McDonald's jacket signed. Really stoked about that. But yeah, it's always good to just see how many people show up for Bubba and like how excited they are, because I feel like some people just forget that he's actually a very popular driver. And so whenever they boo him at the track, it just cracks me up because I know for a fact some of them were lined up on Saturday getting stuff autographed. And, it's just like, they can act all big and bad at the track or whatever. And he still went out there and kind of shut them up because I had a guy, there was a Logano fan in front of me. And I tweeted about this. He was like taunting me the whole race because he turned around and saw I had a Bubba shirt on. And then Logano just kind of sold and he had to turn around and like eat his words and halfway apologize to me as I was walking out at the end of the race. So, yeah, like it was really cool to see Bubba just like running up front. Everything went perfect. He did everything he could possibly do. Just couldn't, close it. But I think it was a great day for them. And I'm hoping that, kind of jump starts their confidence again. Cause I mean, look what they can do when they're running up there with all the Hendrick cars. Like, I mean, he was killing it. And, Bubba knows Martinsville. He's won at Martinsville in trucks. And so like, he knows that track. And that's what I was really waiting to see. And so, yeah, like I really was hoping he could pull out a win, but I think with this car, it just doesn't work. And I know for Bubba, especially, he would kill it even with the, the added challenges. If they, finally do make the necessary changes, that's where he thrives. And that's what I want to see. And I think that's really what disappointed me the most is like, I don't get to see, Bubba at his peak and get to see him like in that situation where he's really got to use his brain and use the strategy. Cause I know when he does that, he's amazing at it. And so, I really would love to see what he can do, if they ever decide to fix this, which they probably won't, but, he did great. And it was great to see Tyler, he was right up there, and I love that Bubba was checking on him at the end. And he was like, where'd he finish? Like that was so cute. But yeah, I mean, they're such a great team. And again, it's refreshing to have teammates who really do look out for each other and they want to help each other. They want each other to do well. So I'm hoping, Tyler would get his mojo back and he starts, running up front like he used to. And I just, I wanted to be back where it was, because we was cooking for a little bit and then it just kind of fizzled out. So I want to see that come back. But yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with Texas, but I think they learned a lot from these last few weeks, so I'm hoping they apply that.
Yeah, I don't think Bubba's going to let another one slip at Texas. If he's up front and there's a green, white, checker finish, I think he's gonna handle business this go round.
He's got to. He's got to.
Brendan, I know you're new to the show in the segment. You have anything to add about air speed and Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, and 23XI's performance over the weekend?
Bubba had a great day. I thought him losing the pole by 1/1000th was heartbreaking.
Oh my God. That hurt.
Yeah. Jared, I texted you the second it happened. I was like, come on, man.
Being at the track when that happened, oh my God. And I was in full Bubba stuff because we came from McDonald's. So, like.
It's rough, man.
He had a hell of a race. Top 5 car all day. Granted, if you start in the top 5, it's hard to lose out of the top 5 because nobody can pass anybody, but I digress. Anyway, Tyler Reddick, he had a solid weekend. He didn't really do much, but came out with a decent finish. I think he finished where he deserved to be. I think they've got a really, really good shot this weekend in Texas. Their mile-and-a-half program is just so good. The Bubba's going to be really good. I think Tyler's going to have it this weekend, to be honest. I don't think, as much as I want Bubba to get it this weekend, I think Tyler's going to get it over him. Him and the 19 are my 2 picks for this weekend. So that's my picks. But 23XI's been this is their 4th year as a team, right?
Mm-hmm. 4th year, yeah.
Coming from absolutely nothing, I don't know if any team has done something like this. I mean, in recent memory, Trackhouse came, but they bought Ganassi and they hadn't established protocols and everything. So that was kind of, and I don't want to discredit anything they're doing because they're doing great, but 23XI coming from nothing, it's incredible to see what they've done.
Yep.
All they need is one more charter. And with that,
I hear one maybe coming, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Well, let's get in the lights too bright.
Turn them off. Let's go. Ready? Turn off the lights. Turn off the lights.
Now, y'all know that Corey LaJoy deserves this.
Don't get me started.
You know he deserves it. You know he does.
Don't get me started.
I'm gonna give it to somebody else this weekend. I gotta give it to Chase. If it was Kyle Larson versus Chase, Kyle Larson moves Chase. If it's Kyle Larson versus William Byron, Kyle Larson moves William Byron. You haven't won in almost 2 years. You need to win to boost your confidence. You had the winning car. You were up front. Hit him.
No.
Move him.
They ain't gonna do that on the 40th anniversary, though. They ain't gonna do that.
They got 4 cars there. They'd be all right. Wreck them. Move him. Those 1,500 Hendrick employees would have been happier than a pig in mud if they would have saw a battle between their cars for the win. It would have been fantastic. Move them. Chase, you get lights too bright because you could have fixed all of your transgressions with one right steering wheel turn again. I'm shrugging my shoulders. You can't see me, but I'm shrugging my shoulders. It's too bright.
I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna give it to Corey just because he deserves it. After all that, I'm gonna give it to him because I'm looking at these race results and he's dead last.
Again,
now,
not 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So
not 2 weeks in a row.
I'm not seeing the results from all that trash talking. I'm just saying. So, like, what's good? Because, like, I just, if you're gonna talk that much trash, you're gonna put blame on people for whatever's happening. You better be running in the top 10 and qualifying great, and all, And he was cooking. Practice, he was cooking, and I was like, all right, Corey showed up, and then nothing happened. And so he did not have anything for them this week. And so I got to give it to him because I was pretty impressed with what was his, let's see. I was trying to find the practice. No, he actually didn't.
Practice, he was like P3, wasn't he?
He got up pretty high. Yeah, he got up pretty high.
He was P1.
Yeah.
He was P1.
He got up pretty high. And
jeez.
But I think in the end he actually didn't do too great. But yeah, it was just it was really disappointing because I was like, all right, maybe he's gonna shut us up. Like, yeah, shut me up. Do that. And I mean he didn't qualify terrible. It was he's still mid pack. I mean, for him it wasn't that bad, but like again, you gonna talk all that trash, you gotta back it up, and he didn't. So there you go. I don't know.
Brandon, who you got for Lates Too Bright?
I'm gonna go a little bit of a controversial pick here. I'm gonna drop down the Xfinity series and go with our good old second place finisher, Mr. Sam Mayer. Because of his post-race interviews. Grow up and admit they're better. That's all you have to do. He had a better day than you. Don't stop complaining about Joe Gibbs Racing cars hitting you, and every time a Joe Gibbs Racing car is around you, they push you out of the way. Grow up, do it back, race.
Rubbing his
you got hair on your peaches or what? Like, that's... Come on, man. Stop
Speaking
complaining.
of JRM,
you create your own destiny.
Shout out Carson Quapple right quick.
Yeah.
For cooking in the Xfinity race. I don't know what Junior has up his sleeve with this 88 car, but the last 2 weeks he's been fast.
He just knows how to pick them, and Carson ain't no joke.
I'm
both the Quapple boys, they ain't no joke. So
Brendan Queen to get in that car, I'm excited for that. He's a local Virginia boy, so I'm excited for him to get in that car.
Yeah,
I forget which race he's doing, but he's scheduled for them.
Well, Brandon gave his picks for Cup with either Martin Truex complaining if he doesn't get race clean to win, or or the 45 catching a dub. Who are your picks for Xfinity and truck?
Oh man, Xfinity. In the 20 car, I'm going Ryan Truex this weekend. I think the 20 car gets its third win of the year. Ryan Truex gets his second win in Joe Gibbs Racing car.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Are you going for the full sweep? Who you got for trucks?
Trucks. I know I'm going to sound like a homer because I drive two Toyotas, but I'm going Corey Heim It is Heim time,
Mm-hmm.
prime time. Somebody get that kid a contract.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at the picks. These are really good picks. They're really good. Counter, what you get?
Yeah, he stole mine, but it's okay. No, because I love Ryan Truex. I want him to prove that he can do it because I know he can, and I mean we've seen it, and so I I would love for him to just show up and win and be like, yeah, I won again, and just be like, hey, like just put him in. Come on, y'all, dang. Yeah, I would love to see him win just to kind of like stick it to him because it's a little frustrating, but yeah, I would like to see him win. If Creed can redeem himself, it'd be cool to see him win. But I think that's gonna be a really fun race to watch next week. I wish I could go in person for that one because that would be awesome. Trucks, I do kind of feel like Corey is like he's due for a win, and it feels like it's coming, and I would like to see that happen. Of course, I'm always going to be rooting for Raj too, but of course, he's also still learning. But I think it's fascinating also to just watch Raja learn, and he's still, getting top tens at these tracks, and he's like, it's just so fun to watch. So I'm always interested to see how he's going to do. But I have a feeling he could cook too, because he got Jeff Gordon out there dapping him up and hyping him up. Man.
Trucks is on Friday night on a mile and a half. Last time the Trucks ran a mile and a half at night. Who won? Just point it out.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. Cup race. Oh God. I hope my sanity wins that day because Lord Jesus, fix it. I don't know. I mean, it it's so hard to tell with these new cars. It's like we get to the weekend and it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great, and it just falls apart immediately. But again, I'm always gonna be rooting for Bubba. I feel like he's learning. He is trying. We have seen the improvement this year. Like it's got to happen in the next few races. I feel it coming. And if they could just get the pit crew to not mess up in the most crucial point of the race, he can win. But it's he needs that moment, so we'll see. But yeah, I would love to see both Bubba and Tyler have a good weekend. Regardless, I think that's gonna be awesome. So we will see.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to stick with the Raj pick for Trucks. I think it's time.
I would love to see that.
I would never ever normally go for this, but I gave him such a hard time last season. I don't know. Cole Custer might break at the Toyota party Saturday. he might. I know you give me the thumbs down, but SHR does one thing right in Xfinity. They are fast at mile and a halves. They are fast. And then
I would pick Riley Herbst over Cole Custer.
I would too, but Riley Herbst going Riley Herbst.
Yeah, you're right.
that's the whole reason why I can't put confidence in them. But then for Cup, I don't know. The next 2 weeks are highly
That's what it's like when you look at the schedule. It's like, oh man, I don't know. Oh my God!
Win this week, he'll win next week. But I'll just say this: Toyota wins Sunday. I don't know which one. I'll see after they practice and they qualify before I do my fantasy lineup.
Yep.
But I think Toyota's got it.
Yep.
Unless there's some Kyle Larson terrorism again, and he gets this week because he didn't get last. But yeah. Open mic. I just want to congratulate Jer. Jer won the VLV Beat the Host Bracket Challenge with the 99.9% correctness. So she will be joining us next week on the show for her prize and her other prizes due to her. We have our Victory Lane Vibes Fantasy League on NASCAR.com. Join us. Arch Cheating. I don't know how he beat me. I finished second. We will be giving a prize away or something, tickets, something. So just stay tuned to that. But I don't know how to do it. I just guessed, and I feel like I did good last week because I finished second. So join up for that. I think that's all I have. Do y'all have anything else to add? Any questions, comments, concerns? Anything we skipped?
I don't know.
Shout out to the people who didn't look at the eclipse with their bare eyes yesterday.
Not Jason Derulo. My God.
Y'all will be able to find us on your phone and listen to us when this episode drops. Appreciate it. But yeah, just my goal and my hope is that NASCAR takes heed of Brandon's advice and we get some 18 by 10s, slide some my way so I can have some table ornaments and let's see what's good. Brandon, anything you wanted to add?
Little bit of a correction. Corey LaJoie finished 32nd this week, not dead last.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, we're gonna call it dead last for him because he sucks. So
yeah.
Anyway,
poor guy.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, he finished in front of Austin Dillon, but
oh no. Anyway,
can you consider that a win?
Oh man.
No.
Yeah, we got another Dash for Cash race this weekend, Texas, I believe it is. Sheldon Creed, Chandler Smith.
Again?
Who's the other? Who else?
Does Eric get to stay in it because he won?
No, he's out of it. Oh man.
How does that work? It's not like the Winston 5 or the No Bull 5, right?
It's so it is this weekend. It is Sam Mayer, Chandler Smith, Justin Allgaier, Sheldon Creed. It is the Xfinity Series regulars that are eligible for it. So Eric Amarola, he was eligible for it, but he's not racing this weekend, so that doesn't go to him. Carson Crawford's not racing this weekend, so it does not go to him. Yeah. So 2 JRM cars versus 2 JGR cars. Sam Mayer, I hope you lose.
Damn.
It's just so funny to hear like someone else is taking a driver because Art's that's his favorite Xfinity driver, Sam Mayer. So just to hear you dragging him just makes my day. It's gonna be an awesome episode.
Bring me back next week. I'll say it again.
You'll say, I don't know if everybody acting delinquent around here. You might have to come back next week. We got to go down the depth chart. But with that, thank you guys for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us everywhere. Yeah, we'll see you after Tejas. And we out.
Bye, y'all.
I'm not going to hum. I'm not going to do this week.
Come on.
Nah, I can't do it.